Hello students, welcome to another week of Fine Woodworking. So I've got the plans for the little free library, and then I've also made the cut list, but once we started looking at the material that I have, the 3/4 inch laminated pine, I realized that it's not quite wide enough for our plans. So what we're going to have to do is cut it into sections and then use our biscuit joiner that we learned about a couple weeks ago, and then we will use the biscuit joiner to put the wood together, and that way we'll have pieces that are big enough to do the rest of our cuts. So it takes a little bit more work. We could have used plywood maybe, it would be fine, but I want to stick to the laminated pine just because it looks nice and it should be good for us. So I'm going to turn on the dust collector system and get cutting. So as I started cutting, I realized that the wood that we have is not quite big enough. So instead of using some biscuit joints on all the pieces and making it bigger than it needs to be, I decided to just use the width of the wood that we have, which is 11 1/8 inches, to go all the way around. It'll still work just fine, and I think it'll look just fine in the end as well. It saves us a bunch of time, a bunch of money as well, because it just simplifies the project a little bit. So this is kind of part of the redesign as we go. So at this point I have the two shelves, I have the sides ready to cut on the table saw, and using my miter gauge at a 15-degree angle, I'll send it through to give it a nice slant. The next part is some assembly, and then we'll make the back for this. So again, I keep my plans close by so I know what I'm going to assemble. We're going to put a shelf on the very bottom, right here, and then one about halfway up. Once it's together, then we'll make a back to fit whatever measurements we've got there. So we're going to use pre-drilling Forstner bit, 3/8 inch, a pre-drilling bit, and then a driving bit with screws to put that together after we glue it a little bit. The first thing I'm going to do is mark out where the holes need to go, and then I'll do some drilling. One in the middle and one on each end. 3 should do it. Same thing on the other side. Then we use a drill or a drill press with a Forstner bit to drill those holes. The Forstner bit doesn't always need speed, but it does need some pressure. And they go about halfway down or to the top of the head of the bit. So we've got our holes drilled, now we're ready to glue and screw this together. good amount of glue, but not too much that it's going to squeeze out all over the place. I'll line this up. Change my drill bit back to a driving bit now. Get my screws ready. Pre-drill first, and then drive the screw in. So there you have it. What we call the carcass is done. We've got the sides, 2 shelves. I'm going to spend a few minutes and just cover these holes with a dowel and a flush cut saw. And then we'll work on the back and the top. So I cut the back to match the very back of the project. And now I'm going to just use some 1-inch nails to hammer it on all around the outside and across the shelf. So the last little bit for this week, what we're going to do is make the little book for the top. It's going to sit right up here. So I took the measurements, I made it 2 inches bigger all the way around, so rain and snow will not go into the little library. And then I tried to make it look like a book, so we've got a 2-inch little rails here, and then a top and a bottom that will sit kind of like this. And then I'll do a spine as well with some sort of drawing on it or a label. So that's what it's going to look like. So I'm going to use glue, and then I'll probably just use a brad nailer to put it all together, and then I can install it onto the rest of the carcass. So this is what we have so far. We have the shelves and the sides and the back, and then we made a top to look kind of like a book. Join us next time when we're going to use a CNC machine to put a little inscription on the top, and then do the doors as well, and some decoration and painting.